Hello, takes d, c takes d. It looks like white has a glorious center, two pawns and a knight on f3, and black looks somewhat underdeveloped and has no control over center. But let's see what happens. So black challenges with d5. White has two options. They can take the pawn with e takes d, or they can just play e5. My opponent chose to play e5, thinking they have a very good central pawn structure and very good central control. Now I release my light square bishop because after I play e6, the bishop will be stuck behind that pawn, and we better get this out now. Also, it pins the knight. If white removes the knight, and the queen will come under attack. So white makes a development move. Play their bishop to e2. Black also develops and prepares for castling. The knight on h6 might look unusual, let's say. White probably is thinking something is off with black, and they see that b7 pawn can be attacked and some pressure can be put up on d5 pawn. So there are many ways again to defend this. I chose to play queen d7 so that I defend the immediate threat, that is b7 pawn. White develops the other knight, attacking the d5 pawn. Simply defend it. White brings the knight out to b5 because they think d6 is a juicy square. They can put up a check and attack the pawn on b7. So we let them attack the b7 pawn. We are not really worried because our aim is to play the center. We will attack their d4 pawn a little bit later. So we simply castle. White can no longer threaten that knight check. White continues with their plan, and b7 is attacked. Again, there are various options here. I take out this knight because I want to remove the defender of the d4 pawn. White also takes. Now I attack the d4 pawn. Black is attacking the d4 pawn, so white defends it with the bishop e3. Somewhat unusual square for the bishop because it's acting more like a pawn, a tall pawn in this pawn chain. Nevertheless, I could have chosen to attack this bishop or cancel the knight, but I chose to play f6, a very thematic move in this opening, because it's starting to put pressure on this diagonal. So remember, when we initially put our bishop on g7, this is what we intended to play, like putting pressure on this long diagonal, also attack their central pawns. After a long time, White thought about it and took the knight. Okay, so we also take the bishop, and now White follows up with this original theme, attacking the b7 pawn. So we just take it. They also take it. Now again, I could take the d4 pawn with the knight, or I could take this pawn on e5. Both are okay, I think. So I chose to take with f takes e, and d takes e, and knight takes e. Now it looks like the game is probably leading or heading to a draw because of the opposite colored bishops, and queen is traded, and same number of pawns. But no, white has a very good edge here because they are still uncastled, and there is an immediate threat of knight taking the bishop and doubling their pawn on the f file. So, and we could also attack here. White coming to b8, attacking b7 knight. Once it moves, we take the b2 pawn. So there's also a threat looming here of knight jumping onto d3 and attacking the king, the f2 pawn, the b2 pawn. So white is definitely better here. Sorry, black is definitely better here. White removes their bishop from the f3 square, moving to a somewhat safer square, also protecting the d3 square. Seems logical. Now we attack the knight on b7. Knight moves to c5, attacking this pawn on e6. We're not really bothered about it. Just go and take the pawn on b2. White takes the pawn on e6. Somewhat dubious move because they still haven't castled, and if their king moves or castles, their bishop is threatened. White's bishop is already playing a nice game on this diagonal. So we just bring the rook to e8 on this beautiful e file, because once they move their knight, we have some potential discovered attacks on this file and it can get really nasty. So white plays knight c7, attacking the rook, but here comes the devastating move. Think about it for a minute, pause the video and come back. Really beautiful ending to this game. Knight d3 check. Now white cannot take this rook because they have a check. So they cannot take this knight because there's a discovered check here. So they can't move their bishop, it is pinned, and they can't take the rook, and they have a check. And guess what? Both the rooks are attacking this bishop, and in this position, white is lost. They played a few more moves. Just to recap what happened here. White shouldn't have taken this pawn when they have king on the open e file. Devastating check. Black takes the bishop. Now it's clearly winning and mate in a few moves. White gets greedy and takes the other pawn. Check. They resigned here. Their only move is king to g1. That will be followed up with a check. And once they come back, it's a knight. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the Sicilian game.